know the San Antonio area is growing. That's a given, and it's going to be growing for some time. But what we don't know as much about is why are we growing? What are the sources of that growth? We're fortunate to have with us today Professor Lloyd Potter of the University of Texas at San Antonio, demography department, but also the state demographer. He has that appointment as the state demographer. Dr. Potter, what does it mean to be the state demographer?
Well, the state demographer is a position that was created by the legislature, and it's a position that's appointed by the governor. And the responsibility of the state demographer is to produce population estimates and population projections for the state, but then also to advise the legislature, the governor's office, state agencies, and so on demographic-related issues. And then we also serve as a resource for communities, cities, counties, and so on.
And you, at your office at UTSA, do all of that?
Yes, we do.
So you have a staff to support that effort?
Yeah, we have about 10 staff members.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think most San Antonians knew we had that capability right here in our area. What about the growth we're experiencing? First of all, is it a sustainable growth? Is this continued growth we're likely to continue to see or not?
Yeah, I think in the not too distant future, yes, it's definitely sustainable. At some point it gets too far beyond what even I can predict, but when we look at the trends, yes, it's been pretty sustaining and sustainable. When we look at the growth that we've experienced, I mean, last year between 2020 and 2021, San Antonio added 14,000 new residents, and so that's significant growth.
So this is a this is a significant fact, because some people would like to wish it away and say, we don't need to make improvements in transportation, et cetera. The growth is either not that great or not going to continue. But it's a kind of a mathematical problem. If the growth continues, we will have congestion unless we take steps to address it. So it's important to know why that growth is coming.
Yeah, and when we look at the growth that we've experienced in the Bexar County area, the bulk of it is from what we refer to as natural increase, more births than deaths. And so that's just people here in San Antonio having children.
And our demographics lend themselves to larger families and more births.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, we're a younger population, meaning we have more people in the childbearing years and not that many people dying. So that's kind of the driver of that natural increase.
And how about in-migration?
So domestic migration counts for about 30% of the population change in San Antonio. And so that's a significant thing, because migration is the element of population change that creates demand for infrastructure, meaning highways, right, power, water, and so on.
And what can you tell as to whether these are people coming from other parts of Texas, or these are people coming from out of state, and if so, in roughly what proportions? Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure I could give you a number right here, but when we look, certainly a lot of people are coming from out of state into Texas. That's when we look at the migrants.
What do you think the dynamic of that is? They're fleeing higher taxes, or?
Generally speaking, domestic migration is an economic decision. And so people are looking at where they are, looking where they're going, and they think it's a better economic deal for them at the place where they end up.
And the domestic migration from within Texas, is people coming from smaller towns to where the jobs are?
Yeah, there's that. So we certainly see, if you look in West Texas, I mean, we had 143 counties that lost population of our 254. That's younger people moving into the urbanized areas. But we see movement around the urbanized areas as well. Yeah. And there's movement from urban cores out to the suburban rings, but then there's infill in the urban cores as well.
Interesting. So the bottom line is, we can count on this growth continuing, which is a good thing, but we must also prepare for growth as an absolutely fundamental reality.
Yes, when you have people, you have to have infrastructure to support them. And the more people we have, the more infrastructure we need.
Glad you're on the job, doing that job as the state demographer, but we have the state demographer here to address our own information needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Supported by Texas Mutual Insurance Company.